guys, I wanted to come at you with another project that I'm working on for the holidays, and this one is another sheet load of cards, but I wanted to use some of the Reindeer Games paper again, and the Reindeer Games comes with a number of like larger patterns that I always am kind of not sure what to do with. So what I did is I just sort of punched out some of the reindeer here, and there is a coordinating stamp set, so like if you don't like the darkness of this, you could do the same thing with the stamp set. But basically you wind up with a little focal point of a reindeer. So that's the upper layer here. As you might notice, that's a 2-inch punch. I didn't actually have a 2 1/4 and didn't want to go and invest in one just for a single card project. But one technique that I'm not sure if you guys have run into, I use it a lot with something like this, is if it can be kind of difficult to sort of center the reindeer. So if you take a punch and you take out the bottom and then put the paper in, you can basically see that like if I punched here, like this guy with the candy canes would be nicely centered. So you can do that, and then it takes a lot of the guesswork out. Obviously, if you're punching this way, it's kind of hard. And sometimes if you're using, a machine, it can be a little tricky to line it up as well. If you're using like a maker or something where you've like created a cutting template. But anyway, that's a pretty straightforward way to do that. Then I used a 2 1/4-inch press or punch to get out some of the circle underneath. I'm not actually going to use the card sketch for this because I've got a bunch of holiday washi tape, so I'm probably just going to use tape for that seam between the two panels. As you notice, these are a little smaller than on the card sketch. That was because I was working with 6-inch pattern paper, and I basically wanted it to not use my entire pad up because I've been using this pad a lot. So I am getting to the point where certain patterns are no longer available. And this is a top fold card, but I just grabbed some nice blue. I thought blue would be good with this, sort of, because like blue and red and green to me are very like wintry Christmas colors. So I just thought I would show you how easy these guys are to put together, because like there's really not a lot to it once you have all the cutting done. And because I used a punch, and this is basically just cutting with a paper cutter and then rounding off the edges, it came together really fast. Now, if you're a very accurate person, which I am not, you could actually like take a scoreboard and score at essentially 1 1/8 in to get to know exactly where to center this. But I'm just gonna wing it. I feel like I don't say enough that like if you want a more accurate sort of approach to things, that is definitely possible. It's just not my default. So this is the pattern that comes at the top. I think I will actually use this because one way to like line up the edges nicely is to use a scoreboard. Like I'm not going to use it for scoring, but that will also allow me to sort of figure out that like my math was wrong. So sorry. 1 5/8 is basically where you would line this up. So this is going to help us because we can just line it up like that. And then the rest of this comes together pretty straightforward without that, because you have sort of this other lip to line your other side up to. And yeah, this is the back of the hats pattern we used for the last sheet load we did. But sort of my idea here was that sort of the blue, that I wanted to sort of keep the background green so that the red would pop a little bit more. So I'm just going to line these up, and if these don't line up exactly, it's not really the end of the world. As you can see, the snowflake is a little bit bigger here, but I am going to, let me see, I'm going to use, whoop, that one didn't work out. So I will go and grab a slightly different, let's say we just grab a nice red and green one. And since I'm working right on the card front, like I don't have the ability to as nicely get these edges, so I will just wrap it around the front of the card. So I'm just going to eyeball that. I can wrap that little tab around, and I will eyeball that down here. I will then wrap this guy, and I can just cut this off. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but basically, like, these Tim Holtz scissors I keep exclusively for paper so that it's so they stay sharp essentially. But the nice thing is none of these patterns have foil on them, so this has a nice little like sparkly foil detail. And then if you look at the original sketch, basically it would go, the circle would go here. I kind of like it a little offset. Some of that is because of sort of the pattern differences we did. So this is probably where it would line up. I mean, it would probably line up about here on the original. But I kind of like it sort of spanning all three patterns. The other thing you could do, of course, is bring it lower if you prefer that. But I kind of like it up here because that gives you this top area if you wanted to put a sentiment on. I'm probably not going to put a sentiment on initially just to give, you know, because I may use these at a craft fair, and it's always nice to give people options, I think. And, you know, it's pretty easy to find a sentiment pad if you so desire. So I'm going to go sort of with original placement, but a little bit over. Anyway, I'm going to use tape for this because I think it'll adhere down fine. Since this is, I probably could use tape for this as well. Let's find out. If not, like if tape wound up not working, you could always just go back with, you know, some permanent glue and let me grab my pokey tool because that's not very lined up. Here we go. There, that's better. So there you go. That's as easy as it is to put one of these guys together. It looks pretty festive to me. Since I have a lot of banners, I'm probably going to leave this blank, and then if I want to put a banner on, I can to basically say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or whatever. I don't think it really needs it because, like reindeer and snowflakes, what other holiday would it be? But, you know. Obviously, you can also embellish this. This turns out with sort of, this is most, I would say, kind of a simple card design. So, you know, you can do whatever you want with it. But that is that. And another project that comes together really fast and is really good for mass production this time of year. And here you can see the whole finished set. I like this so much I did 2 additional cards. So that's why you see a couple that have the gingham pattern as opposed to the snowflakes or the green dots.